Welcome back. You're in the kitchen with me, and today we're going to make banana muffins. Now, I know I've showed you how to make banana muffins before. However, we're doing things differently now than we've done in the past. We, as in my family, we are working very hard to make sure that we get enough fiber in our diet, and one of the ways that we're doing that is by swapping out some white flour, things that we enjoy, for some whole grains. And this was one of the recipes that I changed first, so I'm going to share it with you. This is a double recipe, so I want you to go ahead and get your oven preheated to 425. Do that, because it'll take it a minute. Well, it takes mine a minute. Let me make sure there's nothing in there. I melted slightly 2 sticks of salted butter. You do you, boo, but I never do unsalted. I'm using my little mixer for this because it's not enough ingredients to use my big mixer for. I'm gonna let it rip potato chip, and this is just gonna mix. Grab a spatula. All right. Now our butter's I have to use my recipe. It is the most stained up page in my book. We're going to add sugar directly to our mixer in just a second, as soon as our butter is whipped up and fluffy. We're going to be putting 2 cups of sugar. Remember, this is double, so if you only want to make one batch of jumbo muffins, you only need 1 cup. Get that out of the way. And we're actually making brown sugar with this, so we're going to add some molasses. I'm going to do a couple of tablespoons. Just measure with your heart. And this molasses makes these muffins taste divine. Butter's nice and creamy. Now we're going to add our sugar and molasses and let it rip for a little bit longer. While that's mixing, we're going to get our dry ingredients together. So I'm using a kitchen scale. I prefer a kitchen scale because, in my opinion, it's simpler and you don't have to weigh a bunch of ingredients. You don't have to measure a bunch of ingredients. It's easier to weigh them. So remember, this is double. So to this, I'm going to add 1/2 cup. Your total flour is going to be 1 cup. Now I'm dividing it between this whole grain flour and the golden wheat and this one here, the flaxseed meal, which gives it a really good nutty flavor. But okay, so anyway, I'm going to do 1/2 cup of this. No, that's too much. I probably should have poured right from the bag. Ah, 54 grams. Move that out of the way. Reset. Now I'm going to do 26 grams of this ground flaxseed. this bag because I just finished off my last bag. Don't you love? Don't you just love that? So now we're going to add half a cup of this per batch. So this is going to be a whole cup. A whole wheat flour weighs a little bit more than regular flour, but really I'm not worried about that. It's just a few grams. That. Would you just look at that? Isn't that beautiful? Okay, now we're going to add to this 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Cinnamon. Clearly this is not vanilla. Time for a refill. We are going to add to this. It calls for half a teaspoon of salt per batch, so that would be a whole teaspoon, but we did salted butter, so I'm just going to do like that much. Then it calls for baking soda, 1 teaspoon. Uh-oh. Looks like I need a refill. Pause. I need more baking soda. Baking soda. Now, 2 teaspoons of baking soda. All right, that's all of our dry. All this out of the way. Now just mix it up. We're certainly not looking for perfection. I'm just looking over my recipe to make sure I got it all. Okay. Now, we need 2 teaspoons of vanilla. We need our bananas, and then we need eggs. I'm going to put all of that in one bowl, and I'm going to whip it. So I'm going to grab my hand mixer. Got our bananas, eggs, vanilla. First thing we're going to do is put our bananas in here. These have been in the refrigerator, so they're a little bit cold. Not too much, just a little bit. They are certainly ripe. One. I like to make these bunch at a time. When they completely cool, I'll sit them in the deep freezer, freeze them, and then they'll go in this freezer in here where we keep our convenience foods. And by convenience, I mean things I make to get to easy. And the boys will be able to thaw one out the night before, take it for breakfast the next day. Let me wash my hands. Off. Okay. I'll whip up this banana. Just smush it down. You don't need to do this. You can use a fork. I like the smooth creaminess of the bananas. I don't want big pieces in my muffins. So that's why I use a mixer. Okay, 2 teaspoons of vanilla. This is bourbon vanilla. So good. 2. Now if you're making a single batch, that's 1 teaspoon. And I need my eggs. These are farm fresh eggs from our chickens. I always kind of peek at them before I throw them in there because you really shouldn't crack farm fresh eggs right into your ingredients. It's kind of risky. You just never know if you're going to have a bad egg, which in all the years that we've had chickens has only happened just a couple times, but it'll be the one time that you got complacent and you have a bunch of expensive ingredients and then you crack a bad egg in it. All right, let me rinse. Okay, now we're gonna mix this banana vanilla egg till it's fluffy, creamy, fluffy. All right, that looks good to me. Now, we're going to add this wet mixture to our butter and sugar. I'm going to take this opportunity to throw the spatula, to scrape down the bowl sides and make sure that all that butter gets down there into the mixture. And we're just going to let this mix for a couple of seconds. While I wash my hands. Okay. And clean this off. Okay. This probably ended up being more banana than I needed. So it's a tiny bit more liquidy than I would like. So I'm just going to add a tiny bit more flour to it. Not much. I'm obviously not going to pour it out of the bag like I did last time because that was dangerous. Probably 1/4 a cup. I'm just going to stir it in with this spatula. Those bananas were huge, and I don't normally get bananas that big. Ah, much better, much better. Okay. At this point, you would add whatever you want to add. If you want to add walnuts or chocolate chips or whatever, we don't. It's just plain old banana muffins. Now, I make jumbos because I like jumbos. And here is my muffin tin. Cookie scoop. And I use this bottle specifically for this process. These are pre-cut parchment papers from, I don't know, from maybe Dollar Tree, I don't remember. Anyway, they're pre-cut squares, and this bottle fits perfectly in the, see? So I use it to shape these. So that I have liners for jumbo. Now my oven is set up to be able to bake 3 of these trays at one time. We should have about, I'd say like 14 to 18 muffins. We'll see how many come out of this. But I'm just going to do this 6 first. That way, if I need to make any adjustments, I can do that for the next batch. Okay, so I'm going to fill these 2/3 of the way. Which is about 3 cookie scoops. I'm curious if you decide to try this recipe, and let me know what you think. I think the molasses puts it over the top. Of course, you could always buy dark brown sugar if you want to get the flavor of the molasses without having to purchase molasses. I just don't buy brown sugar unless I'm feeling extra lazy, but usually I just throw my white sugar in the mixer and add molasses right to it, whatever I'm making. I have been using brown sugar for my overnight oats recently, and so I've had a bag left over from the holidays that I have been using. So I'm not going to say I never have it, but I don't make a habit of buying it. Okay. These are going in a, remember, 425. My oven's already beeped. Don't fall in. Thank you. For 5 minutes. And then we're going to turn down the heat to 350, and they're going to go for 14 minutes. 14 to 16 minutes. Okay, let's see. Alexa, 5 minutes.
5-minute timer started.
Catch you back here when they're done. Okay, we took our first batch out. The oven's preheating to 425 again, so I could put the rest in. I made 18 jumbo muffins, but look, I know these are ugly. Look, see, they're ugly. But they're so good. You just have to trust the process. This whole grain flour is dark, the molasses is dark, the flaxseed is dark, so they look ugly. But guys, I already took a bite. I broke it open so you can see. Can you see? It's so moist. It's so moist. It's so moist and delicious. Make some. You won't regret it. Okay, bye.